It's being said that this week, Karmelo Anthony is going to be indicted by a grand jury for the unaliving of Austin Metcalf. If you don't know what this means, just stick with me. I'm going to catch you up on everything. This was the screenshot that I received. In the middle of April, Collin County DA Greg Willis did say that the case may likely go before a grand jury around the end of June. Grand jury proceedings in Texas are closed in secret, and the state attorneys, the grand jurors, or any of the witnesses that were subpoenaed are sworn to secrecy, non-disclosure, and to not talk about this proceeding. So pertaining to this rumor, it's not sure if this person is making an educated guess, if they're using the Freedom of Information Act to piece together information, or if this person has access to inside information that we might not have access to. However, if the case has gone before a grand jury, one of two things has likely happened. Number one, the grand jury may be currently convening to review all of the evidence and deliberating to determine if Karmelo Anthony is to be indicted. Now in Texas, based on my research, the grand jury is only to convene for 3 days, and if it has to go on more than 3 days, they will need approval from the courts. Now the second scenario could be that the grand jury has already convened and has already presented the indictments before the courts. And the state attorneys are either preparing to officially file the charges if the grand jury returned a true bill, or prepping to announce a no bill because the grand jury found that there perhaps isn't enough evidence to indict Karmelo. I can't give my thoughts on which way this goes because I haven't seen enough evidence to determine. Now, if you're wondering, how does a grand jury determine whether or not to indict Karmelo, I'll say it's an interesting process. However, in Texas, 12 grand jurors are impaneled, which means that they are officially made a part of the grand jury by a judge. As I mentioned earlier, grand jury proceedings are closed, which means that only the bailiff is in the room, the grand jurors, a stenographer, and the state attorney is allowed in this room. The state attorney is responsible for presenting evidence, answering questions, and helping the grand jurors to understand the law that they should be considering in order to determine whether or not to indict or not. These jurors have the ability to interview witnesses, to ask questions, and to review the evidence that is given to them. So they have likely seen maybe some of the cell phone footage from the stadium, witness testimony report, affidavits, things like that. Based on what I researched, it's likely that Karmelo's attorney, Mike Howard, is not allowed inside of the grand jury proceedings unless the state attorney approves it. This means that Karmelo Anthony's attorney, Mike Howard, is not going to be in this room presenting their evidence or facts that they may have to determine whether or not Karmelo should be indicted or not. So basically, the grand jurors are going off all of the information provided by the state unless, they dig a little bit more to ask the relevant questions. For a true bill or an indictment to be issued, 9 of the 12 jurors must agree. If it's less than 9, then a no bill is issued. This is what I understood based on my research. If you're interested in learning how the grand jury process is going to work in Karmelo Anthony's case, you can look up chapter 28 and I want to say 19A in the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure to read about it. Now, I have my personal feelings about grand juries because I think in certain instances, grand juries may not be done fairly for the simple fact that in some cases, the defense or the persons being accused attorneys are not able to be a part of the grand jury process in some places. Either way, we know that at some point a true bill or no bill has to be issued in Karmelo's Anthony case. And so when that happens and it's officially announced, or if the records are sealed and they're unsealed, we'll know and we'll go from there. Let me know in the comments if you think, based on what you know, if a no bill will be returned or if Karmelo Anthony will be indicted, and on what charges you think that he would be. Hopefully this helped to break some things down for you. Like and share this post, and I will see y'all in the next video.